Hi, my darlings. I am Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for September 25th through October 2nd. And this is just astrology. However, I'm going to give you a few hints from the Spirit video of all the guidance that's coming from Spirit. But before I go into any of that, if I sound funny, or I keep doing this stuff, you can see I got the tooth loose, more or less, and I can't seem to stop playing with it, and I have a phobia about dentists, so I'm waiting for it to fall out, more or less. End of the story, just so you know, and I'm going to try to make sure that you can understand me if I can keep my tongue out of the tooth hole. Anyway, like I said, this is astrology. There is 2 videos, and I will tell you, if you watch the videos, go back and find the Spirit guidance this week, because it's not just guidance for this week. It's guidance that is going to help you on so many different levels as you're on your spiritual path, as well as manifestation, because of the way that it is being given to me, and I am being told to pass it on. Excuse me. However, I will tell you to go with this week with astrology in general. You do have a lot of animal instinct going on, which would be from the animal medicine. But I really have a whole lot of animal medicine. But they directed it down to 2, basically, because I'm getting it all over the board. And I am being told you might want to Google and look up what the bear animal medicine is, because bear is definitely for this week, as well as the cat. But I am a little bit in confusion as to if you're getting the cat as well for like the spirit guide, the totem medicine or power, versus it might be also showing up for you as a shadow animal. Anyway, and I am being given numbers as well. And I am being given, and Spirit shows me it in the most strangest way, which makes sense to me, but I'm going to leave that up to you to decide what that means for you. Because they're giving me number 96. So you can look up angel numbers, or what the spiritual significance of the number would be. They're giving me 96. However, it looks a lot like the symbol for Cancer. But what they're showing me it is, the 96 is the number that's on the handle of a dagger. So I'll let you figure out what that means for you. I'm also being given 74, and I'm also being given 212. For this week. And lightning. But you really, trust me, you really want to go back and check out that other video for spiritual guidance, because it's just got a lot going on, and it will help you. But to move on to this week, we're talking about September 25th through October 2nd in astrology. I'm going to hit you with another number again. We are coming in to October. The veil is thinning. I know a lot of you can already start to feel that. And it thins every year, especially around this time. And again, that'll have to do also with the other video you might want to come back for. But I'm reminding you, not only is the veil thinning, but we're going into October, which technically is a 10, a 1, and a 0. You're talking about divine energy and power into the Alpha 1. Okay? A lot of changes are going on. I am being shown this week also by Spirit, right off the bat, to pay attention to Eris. I don't speak about Eris too much, because it's way out in the Kuiper belt. But Eris is also the planet of strife, of discord, disagreements. And it's pretty much sitting right on top of Uranus. both in Aries, the universal first house. And I am being told to pay a lot of attention to Jupiter, pay a lot of attention to Mercury, and to Pluto this week. And for you, that might also mean, depending on where it is in your actual chart, that might help you decide what to do in some areas of your life. But as I break it down, what the universal chart is saying, I will bring that to your attention. Or at least I'll break it down for what I'm being given, and then you can decide on what it means in your life more directly. Before I go any further in discussing, before I go any further in discussing what the positives and the negatives, not negatives, but the challenges are. I don't choose to look at astrology as negatives ever. I just look at it as harder parts, more challenging, more difficult to find a way to bring the positive out of it and make it a good thing. That's why it's a challenge. If everything was easy, we wouldn't have to work on shit, basically. But Pluto is going direct this week on the 28th. Now, let me break this down for you, because there's some people who don't understand what retrograde is when it's any other sign other than Mercury. When the planets go retrograde, it's like a moment where they've turned inwardly. And instead of working outwardly towards the world around us, it's communicating with us individually, inwardly, and trying to teach us some stuff that we need to understand within whatever it is that that planet holds of information for us. Now, Pluto is the only one of the original planets we use in astrology that when it goes retrograde doesn't turn inward, because it already is a planet that is inward. What it does do is it goes into overdrive. So while it's been in retrograde, it wasn't just inward. It was more like kicking in the door and going, you don't listen to me now? Basically, Pluto speaks to us of death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, rejuvenation, and regeneration. Sorry, tooth. Which more or less equals change. But it equals, in a strange way, the lifting of the chaos, so that it has to come out and be taken care of. It has to be, like death, decay, and destruction. It has to be dealt with and then let go of. The chaos has to be brought to the surface and then see what has to be let go of that so that it can then change. Well, with Pluto going direct on the 28th, this means the whole time it's been in retrograde, if it didn't exactly get its point across to you, of whatever it is, it has to change. Because Pluto is speaking to us of, man, I said this shit absolutely has to change. Because if it don't, you can't move forward. Okay? That's how Pluto is speaking to us. And Pluto is going to remind us of those areas where it is more or less that shit absolutely has to change. So success and new foundations and new beginnings and a new whatever it is in your life can begin. That has to change and let go of and let the dead to the dead. Pluto, at this point, as it's about to turn back around, it will start relaxing. I promise you. It will start relaxing. All of those changes and the chaos and all of that will start relaxing in about a week and a half. Might have other stuff going on, but in a week and a half, this major amount of stuff is going to start to relax a little bit. However, this week is the week where the chaos is going to hit harder than anything. For those who have not been working well and listening to their Pluto. Okay? And the reason I say that is because right before it goes back to being direct, this is its last chance until it goes retrograde again to go, what are you refusing to get? What are you refusing to listen to? And it's going to more or less smack you right upside your head and force you to listen. However, free will gives you the opportunity to choose not to. So it's in your best interest to listen to your instincts here. This is why I said we're getting that animal instinct going on about trusting your instincts and what's best for us. It's where that bear medicine comes in. Being courageous, but being able to set boundaries. Okay? Pluto is forcing that energy out this week, and if it wasn't learned the whole time it was in retrograde, it is going to smack you on the head this week before the 28th. Because it's trying to make you get the memo. It's trying to make you get the message. Okay? Now, we also have Mercury moving from Virgo and into Libra. So, and that happens the very next day on the 29th. Mercury is our communications planet. Whether it is videos, whether it is me actually talking to somebody or you talking to somebody, whether it is text messaging, whether it is emails, music, whatever it is that makes that communication get across. Basically, Mercury is moving from Virgo to Libra. So it's moved out, or it's going to be moving out of that area where it's been picking apart what you need to see to heal in that communication area. And now is going to start moving into Libra and showing you why you have to heal it. Because Mercury is Virgo is anal retentive. It's picky. It wants everything organized. It is called the Virgin for a reason. It doesn't play shortcuts. If you should go from A to B to C to D, it's going to insist on you going A, B, C, D, not A to D. And skipping B and C. It's been showing you these things so it can help you heal areas within that communication in your life. Now, with it moving into Libra, like I said, Libra is the scales and the scales of justice on top of it. But Libra is not harmony. Libra shows you what's wrong so you can create harmony. So it's basically pointed you in the right direction, and now it's going to explain to you why. Okay? And that's going to have a lot to do with that with that Pluto going on as well. That Pluto shifting this week. And like I said, I'm being told Jupiter is magnifying everything. Everything. And Jupiter is abundance, higher knowledge, growth. It's like a magnet for whatever it is you're using your Jupiter for, positive or negative. Jupiter is a magnet of that abundance, and it brings it to you, as well as helps you outwardly send it, basically. And we got to remember, Jupiter is in Libra. So this whole year, it's been in the universal sign of, like I said, not of balance, but of the scales of balance, and helping us within our relationships of our life, of finding out where we're out of balance and how we can get the balance. It moves to Scorpio in a week, or a week and a half. It moves to Scorpio in a week and a half, which is actually going to be a good thing. After it does some of the cleaning out it has to do in Scorpio and starts to really get in its course. But as it's moving also, just like Pluto is moving from retrograde to direct, Jupiter is about to switch signs. And it's been there for a year. So anything that Jupiter has been trying to teach you about the harmony and where it's out of balance in those relationships, Jupiter is going to, at the same time as Pluto, smack you right upside the head with any information that you need to hear, you need to learn, you need to take care of. This is the shit that must change. And this is the week for the shit that must change. And once you allow yourself to work with that in a positive way, then and you decide, like I said, free will chooses whether we're going to work with the cosmos and the way that the planets are moving or not. and the divine energy, or are we going to be stubborn and just start a whole new cycle because we refuse to learn anything? This is a free will thing, but the planets really are trying to smack you on the head to help you to evolve, help you to change your life in a better way with better circumstances by forcing us to deal with the shit that absolutely has to change. This week, you're getting hit with both planets, Pluto and Jupiter. Now, as I go into the positives and everything, I'm going to start off with the moon. Because the moon, as we are in Monday, we're still in Scorpio. So everything is highly intense right now. And it makes sense because of the way this week's going to be. However, Tuesday and Wednesday, the moon moves into Sagittarius. Now, in Sagittarius is what I like to call Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. It wants to know, it wants to learn, it wants to experience, it wants to try, it's adventurous. And the moon being there is your emotional waters, is taking the chance and trying it. And that's a good thing because, like I said, you're getting hit with this information of forcing you to make the changes. You may not see the positivity of them right now because it's in the process of the manifestation. Like I said, you really need to go back and watch the other video. It will help you understand this so much more. But because I'm being reminded that every action, every thought, everything we do has a consequence. And we are constantly manifesting, whether we realize it or not. And so this week, the actions that we take and the way we communicate will really make a difference in what is going to come out as those changes begin, as those new starts begin. Like I said, this is a week that is a very focal point for the deciding as to where that projection is going to go with that manifestation. And are you in your power or not? Basically, are you coming into your power as you move forward so that you're actually evolving spiritually, soulfully, and in every way? Anyway, so Tuesday and Wednesday we're in Sagittarius. Thursday we're in Capricorn. So you're taking that adventurous side from Tuesday and Wednesday's Sagittarius and willing to maybe try new things. And if you actually went in those directions, Capricorn is going to start being anal retentive at how to properly do it. What are the proper rules to make that happen properly? What is the proper foundation for making that happen? But when the moon is in Capricorn, we also can get a little methodical and we can be a little pessimistic. Because we've become a little too anal retentive and picky about it at the same time. Not necessarily in the healing way, but in a way of building foundations. And that has to do with setting your boundaries. But you don't have to set them in a negative way. You don't have to be rigid, basically. And you want to look out for that, basically. And then we go into the weekend being with the moon in Aquarius. So that's when the rubble starts to come out and the changes are starting to actually take place. That manifestation is starting, even though the projection may not be seen for a while down the road. Now, oh, okay. I couldn't understand what I wrote. I take so many notes. Anyway, the moon, like I said, is going more or less through Sagittarius, through Capricorn, and through into Aquarius as we go through the weekend. Now, you do have some positives and some negatives because the moon is directly going to be having a lot of conversations with Mercury, your communication, with Mars and Venus. And that is your sensitivity with your warrior, your passion, your aggressive energy. Okay? and your action itself. With Jupiter, which is going to magnify everybody's everything. And then it's also going to be having a conversation with the Sun, as well as with Uranus, your independence, your individuality, your inventive nature, but it's sitting on top of Eris. And I'm being told, because Spirit went through a whole lot of information to make me go through it, other charts that I don't always use when I'm doing astrology, to make sure I was noticing Eris is sitting right there, and remind me Eris is sitting right there on top of Uranus, because, like I said, it's strife. It's strife, and it's saying in our independence, our individuality, and standing up for ourselves, our freedom, and creating these new beginnings. Make sure, like I said, it has to do with your communication and how it is that you're bringing this into light, more or less. Eris has a lot of defensive strife and discord and disagreements within her, which is really going to be pushing on your independent level. So make sure that you understand where Eris, you understand those harsh communications that Eris is putting on Uranus. And your independence, your individuality, your freedom, your inventive self. Because she has some issues with where you're not letting these things be shown, and she's trying to bring it to attention. But it's up to you to choose your free will on how it is you're going to create yourself. And are you doing it soulfully in a humanitarian way? I mean, like in harmony with the people you know, meaning we can set our boundaries, we can stand up for ourselves, and we don't have to be an asshole. We can just put our foot down, and I'm not going to budge. This is where my boundaries are. These are the rules I'm creating for me, and not allow all that aggression to take you in a negative way, basically. Because Spirit is, like I said, they're showing me that energy is there. So you want to watch out for that, even though you do want to listen to what is being said. And I have a moth that is being brought to me right now also, flying around in circles, and with Spirit. And that has to do with finding the light within the darkness, basically, and the circle of that. But, and I'm also being reminded, synchronicity is important. When you're in sync and you catch yourself in sync, make sure that you're acknowledging it to yourself in the universe, because the more you're in sync, the more that it will help you get more in sync, and the more you will stay in that proper communication. Anyway, for the positives, we have sextiles. And like I said, I normally hadn't gone over sextiles too much, but I'm being directed to them. Sextiles is a thing that really is harmonious, and it makes us feel good and positive about where things are going within that energy. However, it also can be a little feeling too good to where it's lazy and maybe not have done what you could have done. So you want to watch out for that energy. But other than that, the sextiles are Pluto, which is in the universal 10th house, like I said, about to go direct. It is speaking to Neptune in the 12th house, universally. This is where the end, so the beginning can start, basically, with Neptune and creation, being able to create the manifestation that's about to come for whatever happens this week. Are you creating from the good or the bad? And it should be in a positive way, as long as you don't let Pluto smack you upside the head with some stuff that's really jumping into Neptune's energy you haven't let go of. Like I said, Neptune has the way with nostalgia and bringing up the past, especially the past that has not healed. And Pluto is talking to it in a positive way about letting it go so that these things can start. But if you're holding on to it, you're going to be screwing yourself over. I'm sorry. And it also is dealing with within our community itself, because in our careers and like teams, memberships as well, because we are talking about the universal 10th house as well. Now you also have Jupiter in the universal 7th house, which is creating balance within those relationships, speaking to the node. And the node is in the 5th house with Leo. And this is our creativity, period. Jupiter is trying to speak to your node about the ascendant that is in you, about the soul rising that is in you, about your soul purpose, about your soul direction, about moving forward in all the right ways that are for you as well as the planet. Okay? And that's what the node is about. Node is speaking to us of what it is we must overcome so that we can ascend. And Jupiter is highly talking to it. So follow your gut instincts, your heart instincts that work with your gut. And remember, I mean, I tell people all the time, sometimes that gut instinct gives you that, oh, this is a bad idea. And sometimes it's not that it's a bad idea. It's that you fear the unknown. That's what you've got to decide when you're following your instincts. Sometimes you get that little bit of, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure is not, I said no. You know your body well enough. You know your heart and your soul well enough to know if your gut instinct is going, no, this is bad, I want nothing to do with it, versus, because that love, that is fear. And all fear is going to do is keep you from moving forward. So you got to know the difference and learn your body well enough to know when your instincts are talking to you and understand them. Lilith is also, Lilith and Saturn, which is in Sagittarius, like I said, in the Indiana Jones Tomb Raider personality, and the universal 9th house, which is our spiritual energy, our psychic energy, our philosophy, our religion. It is speaking also with Jupiter, which is within the relationships. So this is a relationship you have with yourself and what you believe of the world around you within that higher knowledge. Okay? And this is giving you the chance to set new boundaries, to take the new balls you're finding and go after what it truly is. Like I said, this is a sextile, so this is a positive energy, and roll with it in new positive ways. Now we have trines. Let me explain. When you look at the astrology, you have trines, you have grand trines, and you have T-squares. And a T-square is like this, where a trine is a triangle. It's like a fatter, thinner triangle, a T-square is. Now, we have the trine that's been going on for months with Uranus, Lilith, and the node itself, which is a positive thing. But inside of that, you have the T-square also with Chiron, the wounded healer, in your 12th house of your secrets and your death and letting go for higher learning. Speaking to Saturn and Lilith, which is your boundaries, your rules, and your courageousness of being able to do them, basically, in your own spiritual, psychic energy, your religious energy, your philosophies. And it is talking to both Vista, which is your fire, and to Sun, which is your core, which are in Libra, which is about setting the proper balance, finding where it's out of harmony and getting it in harmony, as well as speaking to Mercury, which is on that move from Virgo into Libra. So these are actually quite close, even though they're in different signs at the moment. So you got Chiron, Saturn, Lilith, Vista, Sun, and the Mercury, all talking together about healing your core fire energy and the proper communication you're putting out there with the world and how to do it, basically. You also have a trine itself of Pluto speaking to Mars and Venus. So Pluto is trying to comfort, because if you're working with it, Pluto is trying to comfort that change and help you find the way by speaking to Mars and Venus, in the sense of Venus is going to point out, this is what I love, what I like, and what I want more of in my life, and this is what I don't want any more of in my life. It's senses. And I'm being told it's a creative energy for you to acknowledge within your own oneness, within your own soulness, is what Spirit is telling me right now. Because they're definitely giving me the creative energy of the orange. Anyway, so it is a creative energy, but it is speaking to your action, your passion, your fire that comes within those, and your defensive warrior. Speaking to that defense, and now I'm saying that's in an enlightening way, because your warrior can be a positive thing that doesn't have to be aggressive and mean. It can be aggressive in positive ways, but you need to listen to Venus's communication with Mars and your personal warrior, because it's going to make sure to explain to you where you're touchy and why you're touchy, and where those sensitivities are for you and why. As well as Pluto's trying to help you bring the change about, but you've got to make sure your Mars and your Venus are getting along, so that you can create in an optimistic, positive way that will be enlightening for you in your life, illuminating in your life in positive ways through this energy that's going on with Pluto, is what I'm being told. As long as you're allowing your sensitivity, your instincts to take you in the right way, instead of just get paranoid. Because like I said, these are trines, so these are supposed to be good energies. Now, challenges though, like I said, challenges are different. Challenges is something you have to work at to overcome. Challenges is Neptune, Mars, and Venus also. So Neptune is going to be reminding you, really, digging in to the magic that you have in you, to try to teach you, really, this is why it hurt. Getting into that nostalgia. This is why this shit hurt. But it's up to you and your free will to learn from that and not take that in a creative, negative, aggressive way. Okay? Because like I said, that was Neptune speaking to Mars and Virgo. Now you also have Uranus and Eris in Aries, your universal first house, talking to Jupiter. Like I said, Jupiter is magnifying everything, which is speaking to you of coming up and standing up for who you are, making the changes, being the individual that you are, your inventive self, bringing yourself to light for what truly is inside, and making sure everybody else can see it. However, like I said, Jupiter is trying to ask you to do this from a mature level, trying to, like I explained on one of my posts a few days ago, Jupiter is trying to have this conversation with Uranus and with Eris because of those strifeful energies, and trying to help us to, to individually lift that up and bring it into focus, because it's a focus that's going to start for the next 67 years to 70 years of our life, basically, is what's happening right now. And Jupiter is asking it to do it in a soulful, positive way, instead of a narcissistic, self-centered way. Still think of yourself. And the best way I could put it in explaining it was, like when you're a teenager and you're starting to finally become that adult who's moving out on their own, who's finally getting that first real job that is holding down your house, your rent, your bills, your foundation, your financial. Are you a teenager may have gotten to that age where you're now a legal adult, but that does not mean a legal adult is mature and has come into that maturity yet of understanding all of its responsibilities. Jupiter is having this kind of conversation. What I'm saying is just because you're 18 does not mean that you're ready for a family. You're not ready for parents. You're not ready, just because you're an adult does not mean legally that you are emotionally, spiritually mature enough to handle it all. And Jupiter is asking you to take the higher road and start to evolve into that maturity. It's time to start to move up, basically, is what Jupiter is asking us. And this might be difficult sometimes during this week. And lastly, we have, and that conversation between Uranus and Eris and Jupiter also is going to be connecting with Pluto. So it's really going to be bringing up part of that death, decay, and destruction, even of your own personality, of how you bring yourself apart up when dealing with people, is going to be bringing that up, because Pluto is going to be smacking it upside the head. Basically, death, decay, and destruction for rebirth, rejuvenation, and regeneration equals, these are the changes you've got to see. Jupiter and Pluto are coming together in this conversation, kind of ganging up on Uranus to make you mature and grow up. It's time to stop acting like a teenager when you're an adult. Okay, Lilith and Saturn in Sagittarius is also going to be speaking with Mercury. Remember, Sagittarius is Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider. It wants to know everything. It wants to experience everything. It wants to try everything. It wants to learn everything. It's like a brush fire. It can just go crazy and expand. And this is your rules and your boundaries. Talking to your communication outwardly. So you want to make sure that you're doing it wisely, not just, or I'm going to do as I damn well please. Ain't nobody else going to tell me nothing. Because everything has to do with balance, honey. I love you. Hugs and kisses in the wind. And I will see you next week. And please, trust me, there's so much information going on in the Spirit Guidance one. Please click back over, go to YouTube, whatever, but get over and check out that other video for this week, because it's not just information for this week. It's information that's going to help you in so many more ways. I love you. Bye, everybody. Hugs and kisses in the wind.